Try to get into a nice comfortable position. Some of you like to cross your legs in different ways. It doesn't really matter which way you do it, okay? Anything that's comfortable for you, whatever really works for you to be in the most comfortable position and the most vertical position of your spine. You can start by just closing your eyes and focusing on settling yourself down, just bringing yourself to the mat, allowing yourself to...
We can't hear you very well, just so you know.
Oh, man. Okay. Just turn your volume up on your computer. I think that will help. Communicate with Caroline. Ah, okay. So just close your eyes and allow yourself to take some nice deep breaths in. Our practice today will be full of breathing and using our breath to help mobilize our bodies, our minds. Notice right now just how deeply you can breathe in on the inhalation, expanding as much as possible through the entire torso. Not a lot of structure here. You're just working on your breath, breathing in through your nose and then out through your mouth or through your nose. Whatever feels most natural for you. The better your posture is, the better you'll be able to breathe. When you've lifted yourself up in this really tall configuration, this long spine position, you'll enable yourself to breathe in that diaphragmatic breath, which is that deep inhalation and deep exhalation. Now placing your hands just to the sides. Inhale, take your hands all the way up. And as you exhale, bring them down toward heart center. Reach them up again and bring them back down. We're going to continue with that. Inhalation up, exhalation down. Inhalation up, exhalation down. Continue in your own breathing. Allow your movement to be led by the breath. Allow the ribs to expand upwardly. Allow full expansion of the lungs. No need to go fast. Try to take it nice and slow. Continue with me for 3 more full breaths. One more time. Finishing this last breath, bringing the arms up and then bringing the arms down. Drop your ear toward your left side and just allow that shoulder on the right side to drop away from your ear. Take the breath and breathe all the way up into that neck space and exhale. Inhale 2 more times like that. Just easy, gentle yoga today. Nothing complex. Just a nice opportunity for you to connect with your body, with your breath. And now from here, just turn your head toward your left shoulder and drop your chin. Gently pull that right shoulder back so you notice the difference in the stretch. You're going to feel that go down the back a little bit more toward the shoulder blade. Come back up and bring yourself back to center. Drop the ear the opposite way to the right and just allow that left shoulder to drop down. Try not to force it down, just to let it drop. Notice that tension that you might feel from your shoulder all the way up into your neck. That trapezius muscle, bigger muscles of the neck called the sternocleidomastoids here might feel some stretch. Use your breath as a focal point to really send into that neck space. So focus on expanding upwardly into the lungs. And then turning the head and then dropping the chin. Notice how that changes the experience of your stretch. Start to notice a little bit more, maybe down into the shoulder blade area of your back, and then all the way up into the base of your skull. Bring yourself back up with the head and come back to center. From there, take your right arm and lift it up, and then leaving your sit bone anchored on that side, bring your hand out to the other side. If you can get your forearm down, great, but it's not necessary. You can just place your hand there, whatever works for you to keep that opposite sit bone down. If you do have a hand there or a forearm, push with the hand or forearm so you're feeling a bigger stretch in that side body. Take your breath in. From here, I'd like you to just rotate your spine toward that hand on the floor and reach your arm out in front of you at about shoulder height. Take a deep breath in there, fill up your back body. And then exhale, come all the way back around to that side position. We're going to do that again. So inhale, just rotating and rounding. And then exhaling to come back again. Just mobilizing the thoracic spine, which is where your ribs are attached. Go ahead and rotate. Come back through, and then lift that arm up and lower back down. Notice you might feel a lot longer on that side right now. Inhale, lift this opposite arm up, and then side bend over again, wherever your arm wants to go. Just honoring that that sit bone on the opposite side is anchored down. You might be somewhere in between forearm and hand. You can walk out further and push into that hand or forearm. And notice by pushing how it increases your side bend. And then when you breathe in, you'll feel a bigger expansion through that side body. Now from here, we inhale as we rotate and flex the spine to feel the breath going into the back body now. And then exhale to come back to that side position. Inhale, send that breath into your back body. And then exhale, come back to center. One more time. Inhale, sending the breath into the back body. And then exhaling, coming back and lifting yourself all the way up. Okay, hopefully you're feeling that sense of equal on both sides. Cobbler's pose, taking the 2 feet together, trying to bring the big toes and baby toes together, and just let your legs, pushing your feet together, just let your legs flutter wherever they may go. May not be a big motion. As you're doing this, pull nice and strong through your hands so your spine gets really straight. And then think of the crown of your head elongating. You'll get that sensation that from the crown to the tail is lengthening. Stay there for another 2 breaths. One more. And then just pressing those legs with your elbows or wherever you can go forward, just slightly pulling your body toward your feet and your feet toward your body. Stay there, take a deep breath in. And then release that. Excellent. Okay, so we're going to come onto all fours. So you're just going to come onto your all fours position. And from this all fours position, place your hands under your shoulders and your knees underneath your hips. And then just let your pelvis shift from side to side just a little, just to start to mobilize the hips, mobilize the leg bone in the hip socket. Stay like that. A couple more of those. And then thinking about pushing into your hands and into your shins, press into that cat position and really push into those points of attachment onto the mat. Stay there for a deep breath in. And as you exhale, try to articulate your spine coming through into an extended spine position and visualize your hands and knees trying to come closer together like you're pulling them on your sticky mat into extension. And then exhale, pushing again through all points of attachment onto the mat. As you come back out of that stretch, think of your knees and your hands pulling. They're not moving, but the energy is pulling toward each other. That will give you a nice supported extension. As you exhale, press back again. Inhale, coming back into that extended spine position, pulling the hands and knees. And last time, exhaling, going back into your cat stretch. From here, turn your toes under, and then allow your hands to just walk out a little and press yourself into the downward dog position. So what I want to have you think about here is keep your knees really bent, more maybe than you think you should. If this is your first time in a downward dog position, it's going to feel a little awkward for you to straighten your legs anyway. But if you've been doing this for a long time, notice that your hands are spiraling inward. You know that you're meant to spiral like a corkscrew sensation of your hands into the mat, so that your elbows are spinning and turning, the inside of the elbow is facing more forward or inward. From there, if you can start to straighten your legs, great, but first lift your heels way high. Lift up onto the balls of your feet with straight legs, and then try to press your heels down and lift your heels back up again. Let's do a series of 8 of those lift and lower of the heels and toes, coming onto the toes and pressing through the heels. As you press into the heels of your feet, press into the heels of your hands and spread your fingers on the mat. Inhaling and exhaling. Inhaling up, exhaling, pressing through. Let's do that a few more times. Inhale, spread those toes, spread those fingers. Really feel each bone spreading apart from one another. One more time like that. And then I want you to just play with the pedaling of your legs a little bit. So maybe you're going to bring your legs closer together, maybe bring them further apart. So just play with exploration on the mat, like you're exploring where to place your feet. So you're pedaling them out, but try not to be as predictable as just being right and left and staying centered. Maybe move one foot forward more and one foot back, and maybe the other foot goes more forward. Notice how that changes how the stretch feels. Do that one more time. I know this can be a little bit more challenging for people who are not used to it on the wrist, so drop your knees down, open your knees, bring your big toes together, and sit back onto your heels. Only go as far as you can. I know some of you will be compromised in this position, but see if you can stay, even if you're up here and you're just driving your pelvis back, that's absolutely fine. Or come right into that child's pose position. So really reaching through the fingers, spreading out through the buttocks bones. Just shift your weight side to side. Notice maybe that stretch as you do that. And then from here, you're going to just come back through, bring your knees closer together again, and shift back and forth. Okay, you're shifting through your feet and hands back and forth. So as you shift back, I want you to just visualize your buttocks bones spreading wide over your heels and then come back. Do that 2 more times and then bring yourself back up into that downward dog. So as you're pushing back next time, you're just going to drive those hips way up into the air and stay there. Now, coming down into a plank position, come over into your plank position, drop your knees, and then take one leg and bring it forward on the mat into a high lunge position. So you're coming up into this lunge, and you can keep your hands right here onto your thigh, and you can let your toes turn under the back leg. Now, you want to make sure that you're nice and vertical through this shin in the front leg. And then if you want to keep your hands there, you can. Otherwise, lift your arms up or maybe even one arm up. So reaching up, feeling that openness of your chest, spread your fingers, open the heart, stay there breathing. And from there, bring your arms down, place them on the mat, or maybe this is when you would want to bring your blocks into play. You're going to press your hips back. So from this position, I can pull my toes toward myself and get that hamstring stretch. So digging my heel into the mat and pulling my pelvic bone back to get that stretch. If you don't need the blocks, then you can just go onto the mat. Stay there breathing, digging the heel and making this an active stretch by squeezing the quadricep muscle and pulling the heel into the mat. From there, shift your body weight onto that front foot again and lift your arms up. As you exhale, come back again into that fold, holding right at the crease of the hip. Inhale, coming forward again, reaching the arms up, spreading the fingers, opening the heart. Exhale, shifting back and pulling strongly through that quadricep muscle. From there, place your foot back. Take your hand on the inside of that foot, and then rotate away from that leg. Find that stretch, really feel like your hands are reaching from one direction to the other in opposition. Come back to center, bring your chest toward your thigh and rotate the other way. Notice the stretch. Come back to center. Take that leg that's forward, pull it back, and start to do the shift back and forth again. So we're going to transition to the other side through our downward dog position. So just have those toes curl under again. And then on the next time you bring your hips back, you're going to press yourself back into that downward dog position and then stay there for the stretch. Always gazing forward, coming through plank. You can bring that back leg in, or you can put the knee down. If it doesn't come all the way up the first time, just adjust it, and then you can come into the high kneeling position. Bring that foot a little closer to your center in order to come into that position. Hands can stay here onto the thigh, or you can take both arms and reach them up. If you are reaching up, do spread your fingers. Think of that openness through the chest, through the heart. Getting that easy back bend. And then placing your hands back down again. From there, you're going to shift your weight back, digging that heel right into the mat. You can take your blocks if you need to. Squeezing the quadricep muscle here will help you keep active in that stretch. Stay there, digging that heel in, sensing that tensional integrity through the whole back of your body. Inhale, shifting forward, reaching those arms back up again, opening, widening, and then pressing back once again. Feeling that integrity of the stretch through the quadricep, the front thigh activation. Bringing that leg forward, taking the hand inside the foot. Starting off with a rotation where the knee is hugging into the shoulder and you rotate away. Hug that knee right into the shoulder in order to feel that integrity. Place that hand back down. You can walk that foot a little closer in order to bring the chest toward that thigh. Holding that position, breathing in and exhaling. Coming back through. From here, lifting back up, reaching the arms, and then bringing them down. Now we're just going to come into high kneeling on both legs. From here, place your hands on your pelvis right here so that you can have some support. And I want you to sense that there's some bones. If you press your thumbs in deep here, you're going to find a couple of bones right there that stick out prominently. If you don't feel them so much, just tilt your hips forward so that you find these two bones just on the sides, sort of on the side of your sacrum. So press into those and then take your hands and put the hands right there and start to lift your chest, but have those hands there for support. Lift your chest, you're going into this easy back bend, but I want you to be sure that you've got some good integrity of your spine as you're doing so. So we don't want to thrust the pelvis forward. You actually want to keep your legs nice and straight up and down. You want to pull your elbows toward each other in the back, squeezing the shoulder blades, gazing up, inhaling, and then exhaling, coming back to center. So if that felt okay for you, and you want to bring the hand down to the heel, you could do the same thing in the same stretch with your hand on the heel. So let's try one side. So maybe one hand is on, and then the other hand is here. And then you can still gaze up, or you can gaze down. But gazing up is going to get you more of a stretch through the center of your chest. And then come back. If that's, again, too much, just stay here. Otherwise, the hand goes to the heel, and you start to press the pelvis forward. Now, if it's okay and you want to try both, be sure that your pelvis is pushing forward so you come into that straight line. You're gazing upward and you're squeezing your shoulder blades back. Stay there breathing. One more time. Placing your hands back and then coming through, widening your knees, bringing your toes together, sitting back into that child's pose position. Reverse the stretch. Always important to reverse the stretch. A lot of people are not really doing a lot of back bending often, so there's more sitting than there is back bending going on in our culture. So here this would feel nice, but you always want to encourage some extension in your work. From here, come onto all fours again, and we're going to lie down, face down, and work on some of that extension. So you have a couple of options here. Place your hands so that your forearms are down, your legs are energetic. If you can squeeze your legs together, go ahead and do so. And then from there, start to lift yourself, and you can push into your hands and bringing yourself into the cobra pose. So the cobra is very individual, how far up you want to go. Some people are going to feel that they can push a little bit further. Others are going to want to just stay right there. So just gazing out over the front of your mat, legs are energetic. Stay there breathing, squeezing the shoulder blades together, feeling some integrity in the stretch. And then exhaling, just allowing your chin and your head to drop down, let your cheeks go onto one side. Stay there, take a breath in. And then exhale. Bring yourself back to center. Bring those hands in close again. Squeeze those leg muscles together and start to push up. Again, pushing but squeezing the shoulder blades together. So a little push and then a squeeze of the shoulder blades. The shoulder blade muscles are what is holding your head up, more so than the neck. Keep that breath. And then release. Drop your cheek the other way. Stay there for the stretch. And then from there, bring your hands, open your legs a little wider, bring your hands wider, and bring yourself back up. From here, turn your toes under. We're going to go back into our downward dog position. And I'd like you to shift back and forth a few times, and then shift right into that downward dog. Now, bringing the feet closer together, you can explore this next pattern. Keep the knees bent. One leg is going to kick up as far as it can as the other heel tries to go down. So the pelvis is trying to be as level as possible. You're going to feel a big stretch. Make sure you keep that knee bent if you need to, and then bring that leg back down. Center that foot, kick the other leg up, and really feel like you're keeping your pelvis as straight on as possible, not allowing that to rotate out, and then bring that back down. From here, walk your feet closer to your hands and your hands towards your feet, and then bend your knees quite a lot. Lift yourself into a half lift position where you're feeling the straightening of your spine, and then exhale, round forward. See if you can stay there, rounded forward. You can let your legs straighten a little bit, but do keep a softness in the knees. Grab your elbows if you want to let that body hang down a little bit more and get that elongation through the rib cage. Stay there breathing. This is another time when the block could come handy for some people. So I'll show you what we're going to do. So I'd like you to take one of your legs. I'm going to take my front leg toward you, and I'm going to straighten it, and I'm going to rotate toward that leg. This is where the block can be helpful, and then reach the arm up. So the rotation is happening here at the pelvis and at the upper body. So one leg is straight and one leg is bent. I'm pulling that straight leg up, and I'm rotating toward that side, breathing. If you don't need, you can cup your fingers into that fingertips on the mat. Whatever works for you. You can gaze down or up. Then from there, you're going to bring that arm down, bend that knee, and you're going to go to the other side. So straighten one leg and really drive the pelvis back as you reach up. You can either gaze up or gaze down, whatever's comfortable for your neck. Stay there breathing. Allow that pelvis to really draw upward. And then bring that down, bend the knees, open the knees a little bit wider, and let your body just descend down into a nice forward fold. Stay there, otherwise you can bring your hands behind your back and clasp them together. Try to lift them up, reaching them behind your head. Again, just going with what feels comfortable for you. The hands do not have to go up. Stay there breathing. Start to sink down, let your arms drop, bring your arms forward, and come into lightning bolt pose. So you're coming deep into this nice chair pose or lightning bolt. It's called many things in yoga, but it's a really deep, energetic, fiery pose where you're working a lot of muscles to hold yourself there. Then inhale, stand all the way up and find your mountain pose. So mountain pose is just a standing straight pose where you're just upright. Allow your legs to be slightly closer now, and just let your arms drop by your sides. You can stand and just notice the sense of your feet, if they're equal on both sides. In fact, shift your body weight forward and shift your body weight back. See if you can find where that center of the 2 feet exists. And then once you're in the center, notice how you feel more centered through the trunk of your body. From here, we're going to open our feet pretty wide. And the wider you go, the more you're going to feel the stretch, but you want to make sure you stay within your own range. The outside edge of your foot from the baby toe to the heel should line up with the mat, which means that your leg bones are slightly turned in. Okay, so it's not the feet are turned in, it's actually the leg bones up here are turned in, just turned in slightly like that in the hip sockets because of that alignment there. Now, what happens is if you allow those legs to be turned in like that, you can hinge much easier forward and back. So try that. Place your hands right here. This is where your hip is, right in this crease right here. Go ahead and see if you can feel how easy it is for you to hinge when your legs are turned in. Okay, it allows the pelvic bones to spill as you're coming into the fold. Okay, so continue with that just a couple times, sensing it. Okay, and then come back up. And the second thing I want you to sense is this should be a slight bend to your knees. So your knees should not be locked. They should feel soft, and your hands are here on your two pelvic bones. And try to just come into that position and look at your knees. And so see, could I bend them? Am I tightening them? Am I pushing them back and locking them? You want to make sure you're not. Okay, so if they're soft and you've got the outside edge of your foot anchored and you've got this hinge, start to then walk your fingers down. Again, a yoga block or something could come in handy for you to hold that there. Otherwise, if you don't need it, you can take your hands to the floor and let your head drop forward. All of the intensity right now is in your feet. Your feet are holding you in this position. They're stabilizing you. The rest of your body is just spilling forward. Stay there, take some deep breaths in. As expansive as possible. And then coming into a little bit of a half lift, before you come out of a pose like this, which can be considered somewhat aggressive if you just were to try to get out of it, you push into your feet quite a lot, place your hands on your hips again, and pushing into your feet, you just come out of that hinge. The foot position is what enables you to really come out strong. From there, we're going to turn. One of your feet is going to turn, and you're going to have your whole pelvis turn with it. So this back foot's going to turn in, and you're going to make sure your feet are wide enough that you can come into this high lunge position. So the ball of the foot is here. And now you're going to bend that back knee and stay in that position, just getting that stretch through the front. Lift that arm up, lift the other arm up, and stay in the pose. The back leg can straighten a little bit if you want to. You're going to feel a little bit more intensity there, but you can bend it and just keep a softness in the knee. This is more powerful. Definitely feeling some work here. But you should be, if you're bending that back, when you're feeling this stretch here. Let's stay there for 2 more breaths. And then reaching the arms out to the sides, coming back around, we're going to just turn the other way. So the opposite foot's going to turn and face that front. The other leg's going to come back. Now I've got a center on my mat, I've got a line, so I'm putting one foot on one side of the line and the other foot on the other. You don't want to make it like a tightrope, otherwise it's going to be too difficult for you to balance. So make sure the feet are slightly apart for that. Coming into that lunge position, bending that back knee to get that stretch, you feel it right here across the hip flexors, reach the arms up, and you can go as deep as you want into that stretch. Reaching through your fingers, keeping the chest, you can gaze upward or you can just gaze straight ahead. Have that sense of a little bit of buoyancy through your body, that kind of playful buoyancy. You don't want to feel too rigid. You want to feel like you could really bounce just a little bit. Reaching your arms out and around again. From here, you're just going to bend the back knee and bring yourself up back into that mountain pose again. So standing just at the edge of your mat there or wherever you are in space, just looking forward and just feeling your body. Placing your hands at the heart center. We're going to go through a nice easy flow. Inhale to reach the arms up. And as you exhale, you're going to come through swan dive, which is this extension of the body all the way down into that forward fold where you bend your knees again. Inhale, come into the half lift position. Exhale, just round your spine forward again. Now pushing into your feet, bending your knees. Inhale, come all the way back up. Exhale and bring your hands back down to heart center. Let's try that flow again. Inhale, reaching the arms up, gazing upward. Exhale, swan dive forward, really reaching out of the spine all the way up and over, soften the knees. Inhale, come into that half lift position or that tabletop position. Exhale, lower all the way back down. From here, inhaling, coming through that tabletop position all the way up. And then exhale, coming back down. Let's try that one more time. Inhale, reaching the arms up expansively, and then exhale, diving forward all the way until you come over to a bent knee position, soften the knees. Inhale, come into your half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, come through your half lift all the way back up again. And then exhale, lower all the way down. From there, we're going to take it to the mat. You're going to use your yoga strap if you have one, or you can use just a regular towel. Just a regular towel. A longer one would be better if you have tighter hips or tighter muscles. From here, just going to take it down into the mat where our hands are back behind us, and we're just going to rock back and forth a few times. Just mobilize through that hip joint, back and forth. Beautiful. Is it just the knee dropping down, coming back through? A couple of more like that. And then bringing your legs together and bringing them out in front. From here, squeezing the quadricep muscles really strongly will help you as you walk forward into a hinge position. So in your hinge position, you want your spine to be as straight as possible. You could use a towel or a strap here to pull on to really lift the chest in order to get that straight spine position. Really depends on how flexible you are. If you can walk your hands out, that's fine too. But the more important thing is that these muscles in the front are tight so that you have that support of the hamstring stretching in the back. Wherever you can hold onto or onto the strap, pull your chest even more wide open and think about the length of your back of the neck. You want to get the crown of your head reaching in the opposite direction of your tail. Stay there, take a deep breath. Exhale, if you can come a little more forward, then go ahead. Not necessary, but if you can and it feels like it's the right thing to do. Keep that integrity through the legs. You can drop your head and you'll feel a big stretch through the back body in doing that. To come out of the stretch, squeeze those thighs again, reach the arms and lift all the way back up and lower your arms down by your sides. Okay, from there we're gonna take one leg and place it just into the thigh. So you've got that pushing in. Stay there, take your arms up in the air. Continue to push into the foot and into the thigh and the thigh into the foot as you come into this hinge pattern. Take a hold again using the strap or the towel wherever you can and pull your chest straight. Most importantly here is that integrity through the thigh muscles, making sure you're not collapsing into the pose. You're pushing that foot, getting that stretch. These are really classic yoga stretches. Really wonderful for mobilizing you, but not really great if you're not having some integrity in the stretch, making sure you're keeping that integrity. So from here, inhale, lift up, and exhale, lower down. We're going to go to the other side. So take the other leg and bring it in, pushing that foot into the thigh. And I talked about this before, maybe you've felt the pushing helps your core to engage, which then allows you, when you rotate and come over, to have that really strong spine position. You're not collapsing at all. Pushing into the foot, into the thigh also helps the knee to not feel pressure. So those are important things. Quadricep muscle. Passive stretching is never really passive when done correctly. It's active. It doesn't look like we are active, but we are actively engaging without collapse. Stay there, and then if you can go a little further, let your head drop down. Go ahead. Honoring your body. And then to come out, you push again into that, and then come all the way up and lower the arms all the way back down. Excellent. Okay, going on to our back now. You'll keep the keep the strap in your buy, and just lie on your back. And just notice how your body feels. It's always important to get a sense of that before we start doing things, just to see, how does it feel? How does my right leg feel compared to my left? What's my spine feel like? What parts of your spine are touching the mat and which parts aren't? From here, just turn your head side to side, bend your knees, and then open your arms up to the sides from here. Now, we're going to take our legs and take one leg and cross it over the other. And whatever leg is on the top, you're going to go in that direction. You're going to rotate the pelvis in that direction. Now, when you do that, see if you can keep your shoulder blades nice and strong on the mat, not allowing them to roll off the mat. That's your stability. You're gaining your stability from your upper body while you mobilize your whole entire side of your hip, mobilizing the lower spine. Stay there for a couple of breaths more. And then slowly bringing that back up. Changing now to the other side, cross the knees, restabilize the shoulders, and allow the legs to drop. How far should the legs drop? It really depends on how much you can keep that stability through the shoulders. You can gaze out over the other direction of where the thighs are if it's comfortable for your neck. The whole time though, you're pressing the shoulder blades down, getting that stability across the upper body. Noticing what's happening here at the spine, the lower spine and the hips. And then slowly bringing it back up again. From there, we're going to take our opposite leg again, and we're going to take the ankle over the thigh, and then just rock back and forth a few times, just starting with that stretch. Then, I'm going to talk you through this one. You're going to lower your legs over toward the side of the knee that's bent at the top here. So you're going to go over and then let the foot slide down a little bit to the outside of that thigh, the opposite thigh, so that you feel a really nice iliotibial band stretch going all the way up. Now, how far over do you go? It really depends on your level of flexibility and where you're at. So just go to where you feel the stretch and then gaze the opposite way. This can be pretty intense for some of you out there, I know, the cyclists and athletes and friends who are active in life. Even for those who are inactive at times, this can be a pretty big stretch because they're sitting maybe a lot. I know that's not necessarily this crowd. Okay, come back to center. Notice how that feels. And take the leg out. Put the other leg on and this crossing here at the ankle so the knee is open. And then just tick-tock back and forth a couple of times before we go into the bigger stretch. Now, as you start to go toward that leg, allow the foot to slide a little bit so it kind of hugs itself around this thigh or this outside of the thigh, and let that drop down. Try to, again, imagine those shoulder blades are your stable point, allowing them to stay down. What's active here is your breath. Noticing that whole line that you're feeling. It's really nothing in isolation here. The whole lower back, the whole outer thigh, the hip, that whole part of your body is stretching right now. Stay there for another deep breath in. Then exhale to come back up. Beautiful. Okay, lengthen your legs on the mat and notice how different you feel from when you first did that. That's why I like to do it in the beginning, is just a sense, okay, how different do I feel? Oftentimes you are amazed at how different you feel. You feel a lot more open. From here, we're going to take our strap and we're going into our hip openers. So the strap is just going to go around one foot, or you can just take a towel. It's really fine to have a towel. Towel works really well. The other leg is going to go out, and that leg is meant to be energetic, meaning don't let it just collapse there. Energize it so you feel like it's kind of holding you in position here. And then the hand of the same leg is going to take the strap or towel, and it's going to go to the other side, or I'm sorry, to that same side as that leg. You want to make sure that your arm is on the floor so that you're not having to hold the weight of this leg up with your shoulder muscles. You want that just to, as much as possible, let go. Allow the bone, the weight of the leg to be completely supported by the strap or the towel. And just stay there. Notice what you're feeling. Notice the relationship of the pelvis from one side to the other right now. You might find there's a pulling sensation going from one side to the other. Allow yourself as much as possible to breathe and release that. When we start to come back through, oftentimes I think it's important to grab a hold of that strap with your other hand to help you come back through. Then we're going to go the opposite way. So you're going to take a hold of the strap with your opposite hand. If you do have a strap, I like to hold the other end of it. Then you're going to allow that leg to cross the midline. When you cross the midline, the pelvis has to come up off the mat. But what stays stable, once again, are the shoulders. Try to allow that arm on that side where your leg is to be completely supported by the mat, so that your leg is completely supported by that. You may feel a little bit in the crease of your hip joint here. You may feel some tensioning there. This is what they call a bind in yoga, where you're binding the muscle, and then once you release it, it will release tension. So if you're feeling that, it's not abnormal. Try to notice while you're there if you can still maintain a good breathing rhythm. When you're holding a stretch and you can't find the breath, usually that means you've gone too far. You need to back off. Always look for your breath. One more full breath while you're there. And then to come through, you're just going to grab that strap and pull that leg back through again. Hold that leg right there, bend the knee, and then stretch out again. So you're just going to bend your knee and then push back up again. Bend the knee and push back up. Do two more like that. Bending the knee, pushing back up. One more. Then releasing the strap and letting the leg go all the way back down. Place it along the mat, and again, do a body check. How do I feel from one side to the other? Perhaps that one side feels longer, more released. Motivation to do the other side. You lift up the leg, place the strap or the towel, and then just hold that leg up straight to start with. As we start to go over to the side, you want to laterally rotate that leg. So let the leg spin in the hip socket and bring it all the way out to the side. So you want it to spin outward. And then notice when you do that, the opposite side is grounded so that you've got some stability. Allow that leg to release as much as possible. Be supported by that strap in your arm. And breathe through this whole entire pelvic area, spinal area. Send that breath as deep and low as possible. Nice full breathing patterns. Now to bring that through, you're going to grab a hold and bring it all the way up to the center. Take it with the other hand. When you start to go the other way, remember how we rotated out to go the other way? You now rotate slightly inward and then bring that leg down. The pelvis is going to come up off the mat, and then find your support. You need to find a place where you can stay supported into the stretch. Allow the leg bone to be supported by the hand, the strap, and the arm on the floor. And again, you may feel that bind that I was talking about earlier. That's right in that crease of your leg bone right here. That's not abnormal. I know it can sometimes feel pinchy or tense. You're bringing it into a compressed type of a position, which then when you let go should release. Ultimately, that's the goal. The body is a pretty amazing thing. It's completely not in isolation. Every part of us is connected. So when you're feeling a stretch like this, you are not feeling it in one area. Most likely you're feeling it in a widespread area. It's no one muscle, that's just a whole group of muscles that are all connected together by the fascia, right? You know that. Okay, we're going to pull that leg back up. And that's when you might feel a little bit of a release. So you bend and stretch, bend and stretch. One more. And then take the strap off and then lower that leg all the way down. Notice when you lower it down, let the legs go. How do they feel? We're going to take our feet now, just bend the knees, walk the feet in close to your buttocks, and see if you can perhaps maybe even grab your heels with your fingertips. From here, we're going to lift our hips up
So kind of lift your hips up, and very different from Pilates and yoga is bridging. Bridging in yoga is a back bend idea, and bridging in Pilates is a much more neutral spine. So this is more of a back bend idea, and then lower back down. So it's going to be more of an extension. So what I want you to try and think about here is when you go up, drive your pelvis up, and then start to walk your shoulders underneath a little bit. Maybe you can clasp your hands, and then drive your pelvis up toward the ceiling, keeping your feet flat. And then think of pushing your hands down into the mat to help drive your pelvis up. Make sure you're not looking sideways. You're keeping your gaze straight up toward the ceiling. And then pull your chin in toward your chest. That's going to tone the back of your body. Stay there breathing. Please feel free at any time to come out of here if it's too much for you. Stay there breathing. Unravel your shoulders and let yourself come down. Bring your knees into your chest and then just rock side to side. We're going to do that again, and I'm going to give you an option to use your block if you have one. If not, it's the same exact pose without the block. So we take our feet back down, hip distance apart, and you can, once again, press your pelvis up, keeping the feet flat. And if you have the block, you can just place the block and then place your hips on the block. So you're getting more of a release, less work. If you have the flexibility and you want to come up onto your toes, you can place the block even higher up. And then you're really going to be in that high position. But again, you've got to have the flexibility in your spine to be able to come into that full back bend extension. This is a much more of a stretch through the pelvic area. I'm going to come out of that position because I don't really need that right now. And I'm just going to hold myself back where we were with the shoulders wrapped underneath, the hands pushing down and the pelvis pushing up, the chin in toward the chest. That's another one of those binds. And then in the throat, we're binding into the throat. Helps with thyroid gland, stimulates the thyroid, pressing up the chin to the chest. And then if you're ready at any time, come out. I'm going to come out now and unravel the arms, roll the hips down, and then bring the knees into the chest, and then just rock side to side. Good. Now take your hands and just place them on your knees and make circles. You know, you've got that sacrum at the base of your spine. Just visualize yourself circling around that sacrum, all the way around in that circular pattern, and then go the other way. From here, shake your feet out. You can hold under your knees and just kind of shake them out and then do some circles, really circulating the ankle joint. Go the other way. And from here, you reach one leg out. If you do have a yoga blanket or you have some socks or a sweatshirt or something you'd like to put on for the final pose, which is Shavasana, then feel free to bundle up a little bit to be relaxed. You want to be as comfortable as possible. Closing your eyes. Allow your arms to rest out by your sides. Let the legs now just drop completely out to the sides, no holding on. In fact, allow your whole entire body to be completely supported. No need to hold on. No need to try. Just allowing yourself to be completely supported by the mat. Notice your thighs, your arms, the weight of your pelvis, your ribs, every part of your body completely supported by the mat. Focus on your breath. The rise and fall of your chest. without forcing or dictating the breath, just notice what happens on the inhale. What happens on the exhale. Just notice. No need to actually do or try. Notice the energy traveling through your body. Be aware of the nervous system, sensations traveling through, energy. Just visualize your cells. Every cell in your body is breathing. Not dictated by your diaphragm, not dictated by you, just breathing, pulsing. Every cell in your entire body is alive. To see if we can bring ourselves a little bit deeper, we're going to start a contract and release. To see if you can start to contract your muscles of your thighs and your calves and your legs and your buttocks. Squeeze your leg bones, squeeze your buttocks, every muscle from your waist down, completely solid. Take a deep breath in. And on your exhale, completely let your legs go. Visualize your hands now. Squeeze both hands. Squeeze your arms. Shrug your shoulders up into your ears. Bring your arms as tight and close to your body as possible. Tensioning every muscle you have. Take a deep breath in. And exhale, release. Squeeze every muscle of your face. Shrug your whole face. Shrug every muscle. Tighten up the cheeks, tighten up the forehead, squeeze the eyes, everything you can find in your face to squeeze. Inhale. Exhale, release. Starting with your toes, your calves, your thighs, going all the way up to your buttocks, then tightening your hands and your arms, bringing your arms close into your body. See if you can shrug your shoulders and tighten every muscle in your face. Hold it, feel it, tighten, strong. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, start to slowly release the toes, the legs, the arms, the neck, the face. Notice how much deeper you've sunk into your relaxed body. And in your own time, roll yourself over to one side. It doesn't matter which side, just roll over to one side and allow yourself to just stay there for a moment. Allowing the knees to stack one on top of the other. Restful pose. And halfway open your eyes.
Take your time and bring yourself all the way upright. Come back to where we started. Hands by the sides. Inhale, lifting the arms. Exhale, coming to heart center, bowing. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, lowering down. Inhale, reaching the arms up high and wide. Exhale, back to heart center. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, opening. One more time. Inhale, reaching. Exhale, coming back to heart center. Honoring you. Thank you.